Wait, I didn't get names. So Austin and Judd and what? John, Kira. Nice to meet you guys. Not even working. Hello. Okay, perfect. I just don't know if it's going to work for online. Guess that's not my problem. So, and where are you from? Cool. And John? Sandy. Awesome. Good for you guys. Okay, well, welcome. So kind of what Cam was saying, I've been here for 10 years. I actually started off in agent services. And so I worked on staff for a few years, and then I got my license. Well, I got my license within like 3 weeks of working here because I knew that I had to come. Like back then, they didn't have really a productivity coach. They had a small one, but agent services, we onboarded everybody, and we also helped out with Ignite. We taught a lot of Ignite. Our office was a lot smaller than it is now, and we were in the smaller office over there too. So when I found out that I'd be teaching agents on how to get things started with their business, I thought I better do my crap and understand what they're doing. And like, 'cause I had been in sales for many years, but I didn't know the real estate realm. So I thought I'll get my license just so I can feel at least a little bit more in tune with what our agents are going through. And so I got my license. My first Ignite session was kind of funny because I said, I don't know what I'm doing. I said, I haven't taken the course. I just got my license. So I'm going to do what they tell us to do. And then I'm going to tell you if it worked for me or not. And so that was my first Ignite class going through. So it was a lot of fun. And then I realized like, okay, as I went through and started going, a lot of these principles that they teach you are very, very real. And they really do teach good principles. Now, everything that we present and everything I present today are not things that I all use, but it does work for different personalities. So I just kind of want to challenge you guys to understand, first of all, who you are and how you work. Because I'm sure have you guys all started with Ignite 1, the first class? You guys all did? You didn't? When did you start? So just a few weeks ago, right? So then you guys I don't know how often are they doing Ignite? Still Monday, Wednesday, Friday? Okay. So you guys you've had a handful of classes then, right? So if you've been in here, you're probably looking at things and you're like, I would never do that. Does that ever happen to you? And you're like, this is not my personality, or maybe I'll try that, but it feels really weird. I would say challenge it and decide if it's for you. Try it, definitely try it. But if it's not within your personality, I will tell you, like when it comes to lead generation, that's what we're gonna talk about today. If it doesn't feel natural to you, or it's something that is so far away from who you are, the people who know you will sniff it out in 2 seconds, and they're gonna be like, that's weird, right? Have you ever had a friend like call you up and say, hey, I'm doing this one thing now, and just wanted to know if you could do me a favor and check this out? How do you feel when they do that? Have you ever had somebody call you up and say, oh, I'm selling this now, and just wanted, yeah, or approach you about a product or service they're selling?
Yep.
Yeah.
It out right away because he's a friend of mine from when I worked at FedEx, and he calls me like every week. And he called me one day and he was like, just complaining and all this. And, oh my God, my wife, we're having trouble. She doesn't bring anybody in and sends it, blah, 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 yada, yada. I'm like, man, I'm really sorry. I've been there with you, pal. I feel for you. And then like 2 days later, I get a text from him and he says, hey, have you ever thought about selling new skin? And right away, I'm like, oh, yeah, you're trying to get me under you to, collect something. I just knew it right away.
Yeah. I mean, nobody appreciates somebody just approaching them out of the blue and being a little bit when it's unnatural, right? So I'm sure you've had like, oh, I'm selling this, or I'm doing this, or they invite you to an online party or whatever, right? So I just say, like, I want you guys to challenge some of the lead generation things that you're doing. There are good things. Getting into action and doing stuff is absolutely the best thing you can do. So doing something for your business every day is great. Sitting in this room, awesome. But you're gonna get a lot of ideas and you're gonna feel overwhelmed by all the ideas that come at you. So I'd say zero in on the things that feel the most like aligned with who you are and start to run with it. Okay. And then you can start to like go outside your comfort. You're gonna still get out, you're still gonna need to get out of your comfort zone, period. It's a new realm, it's a new thing. But I'd say more so than anything, go through and challenge those things, but start things that are start to feel and do things that feel the most, natural to you. So today we're going to talk about lead generation. Okay. We're talking about generate your leads, growing your database, capturing your leads with open houses, and capturing leads with social media, and also other things I do to capture more leads. So, the biggest thing is you've already talked about your databases, right? Have any of you reached out to your database so far and talked to them about being a real estate agent? Yeah. What if I didn't get your name. What was your name? Kyle. Nice to meet you. I'm Jackie. Where are you from? Lehigh. You're like, I don't know, where am I from? Got awesome. Cool. Well, welcome. So what have been your experience with like reaching out to your sphere of influence?
So,
Yeah, great.
so, I mean, I've told people that I haven't spoken to in 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Conversation carries on, and I will hear one or two questions, which is my meeting question, and that is, are you still with FedEx? Or what are you doing these days? And I just kind of look at that as a natural transition, I think, transition to get me talking about my career.
Cool. That's awesome. So it's been a really good positive thing. How about anybody else? Have you spoken to any of your sphere or put things on social media? Yeah. That's smart. Perfect. I mean, obviously you have a different, does everybody else have their license officially? Perfect. You do too? Perfect. Um, any other comments on talking to your sphere? Scary?
My good friend is easy. Showing actually has a little format called Ford, which I think is awesome. So family,
Yep.
occupation, recreation, and then I don't remember the trees, like what you're planning to do, which I think is awesome. And when I talked with him about Ford, this may be helpful. This was insightful to me. The occupation part, like that's not your real reason for calling, right? And if they're one of your friends, like the gentleman said, are you still with FedEx? Like it can be quick. No, I'm not there anymore. I'm doing real estate now. You can keep it as light as you want to. If you're like me and don't want to come across that, hey, this is the reason I'm calling. So, hey, I'm in real estate.
Right.
Close by friends. I call them and tell them that all day long.
And they'll celebrate with you and be happy. Yep. Yep.
Several that told me that.
Yeah.
But you keep it light and then you turn it on them, right? Hey, what do you got? How's it going for you?
Yeah.
Keep it light. Guys, they'll ask for it out, right?
Right.
They're new. What's market like now? How are things going? And they'll kind of take the direction from them in that situation.
Yeah.
Well, in high school, 20 whatever years ago, like social media is kind of the way that I've done that. It's just started to put a little bit of some real estate content out there, and I'm not super big in your face, but I also carry business cards with me everywhere, and I talk to people randomly, like
Yeah.
the other day. Talk to the guy, oh yeah, like what do you do? I'm like, I'm a realtor. Oh, what's up? And he asked me questions. Okay, here's cards. If you ever want to chat, call us. Let's go to lunch or whatever. Happy to answer any questions you have. That's pretty light.
Yep.
I'm not. There's so many realtors here.
There are.
They've got a friend or a cousin or family member that does it as well. But I also believe that you kind of find your people,
Mm-hmm.
and some people will resonate really well with and they'll want to use you. But I also see the other side where sometimes doing stuff that's a little outside your comfort zone is critical.
Yes, exactly. You have to. And You do. Yeah, no, I love that. I love that. And thank you for sharing that. I love the Ford method too. Like it really is. Your goal when you're speaking with people is to connect. Yes, telling about you being in real estate, uh eh, don't throw up on them. But I say like where I think I mean I was totally one of those people like, oh, I'm in real estate. You want to know about it? You know, like and after I did that a couple of times, I realized what the crap am I doing? Like nobody likes that. Nobody wants to feel that way. So yes, there are things that you do have to reach outside of yourself, do things that are scary. But you'll find the more you do something, the more natural you become at it. So like I say, challenge the resources and the things that you're talking about. Oh, go ahead. Perfect. Okay. All right. So we're gonna first talk about systems at work. Okay. So you love people, but at the same time, you haven't yet learned to love hunting for them. I thought it was kind of funny, right? But the thing is like the reality is you have to have a database. You still have to have a rolling database in order for your business to actually run. I saw this over and over. The people who did not have an actual database of people or are continually feeding a database of people, like feeding in new people, your pipeline will dry up. Your amount of people to work with will dry up. And the people who don't actually pay attention and start to do that, like again, learn how to hunt them, right? You will see a stagnation in your business. Um, I, for example, I'm a good example. I started off, I had a great start of business and everything. Then we decided to adopt some babies and it was crazy and I didn't have time and focus on it. I didn't feed my database the way that I needed to. And there was a time where I had a lower period of my business. And then, you know, again, we've turned around in the last 2 years. I've had a really great, successful, thriving business, even on the lower end of this market coming down, which has been crazy because I feel like I'm busy every day with my business. I work full time in my business. And now I realize it's because I've consistently fed my database for the last 2 years. I'm consistently reaching out and meeting new people and feeding that. So your number one job is to find ways to get in the path of motivated buyers and sellers. So we're going to look at the different ways to do that. So the two M's of that we're going to teach you is message and method, right? So you want to present your message, right? So matching your market target. So here, you guys can see the diagram here, and this is not necessarily the way that I like to put things together, but it's great. So the message is what you say, right? The method is how you do it. Okay. So when we're talking about message, you want to be talking to somebody one-on-one, right? Again, matching them. I, for one, when I first started, like I said, I threw up all over people where I'd say, instead of keeping it light, I would say, what do you guys do? Like, you know, I'd ask about their work. And the minute they asked me about my work, I was like, oh, I'm a real estate agent and I do this. Da, 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 da. Do you want me to send you a market analysis? Right? Like just from 0 to 100. And it was awful. Like I remember feeling like it was the weirdest, most disjointed conversation. And actually, I have to say, so I have to get a tissue. Is there a tissue in here? Oh, let me grab a tissue, guys. Okay, there we go. The minute that you start to understand and match your market and understand what they want and what they need, the better off you are going to become. I say that I'm a teacher that just so happens to do real estate. I also say I'm a therapist that just so happens to do real estate. I'm a broad spectrum person, but I like giving people value. So in my message to people, I love to provide value when I'm talking to them. So, for example, if someone's walking into my open house and I see them and I speak to them, first thing off, I usually say, "How did you find us?" Right? Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. I found my tissue in here. Thank you very much. Uh, I say, "How did you find us?" And they usually will say online. My realtor sent me. So that kind of gives me an idea of how available they are as a potential buyer, right? If their realtor sent them, I really do respect that boundary that they have a realtor, right? And I'll say, oh, great, who? Because I want to know if they can name their realtor. That will tell me how great a relationship that is, right? Then, I like to talk to them again. I just kind of drill down to like what they're looking for and is this the house for it, right? So understanding, having those conversations are good. So again, as we're doing our lead generation, make sure that as you're putting content out, if it's in like through voice form, or if you're doing it through email marketing, or if you're doing it through social media, make sure that the things that you're providing, number one, you are creating a message of understanding. You have a good understanding of who your market is. Have you guys identified who, like a specific portion of the market you want to go after? Yeah. Military veterans. That's awesome. Why did you choose that specifically? Congratulations and thank you for your service. What branch? That is awesome. Good job. Yeah, so you understand. You understand exactly where they're at, right? Anybody else? Do you have any target markets that you currently work with right now? Or ones that have just kind of fallen in your lap that you're like, all of a sudden I have these, everybody in my, pipeline has something.
That's like this for, I like myself proper. So giving the depth of background,
Mhm. Okay. Well, it's great because like I mean you now know a little bit more like into that group or realm, right? Welcome you two. Thank you for coming. Can I get your names? Avery and what was it? D'Angelo. Welcome you guys. I'm glad you guys can come. Um, so the biggest thing for me is again creating that message, understanding who your market is, targeting that audience, and also the market conditions within that realm, right? So somebody who is in, like, for example, somebody who's living in like more rural places like Nephi, Mona, Santaquin, right? Those things that those messages that you're sending to them might be very different than your downtown Salt Lake people because they are very different groups, right? And so understanding your market, again, sending it to a single professional woman versus a family that still have kids at home, or empty nesters, right? Versus first-time homebuyers. You have very, very different types of groups of people that you want to make sure that your message is clear to. First-time homebuyers, I love working with first-time homebuyers. There's a lot of hand-holding with that, and they really, really have they have a heart. Like sometimes it's just you have a lot of work to do with them. However, it is very rewarding once you get to the closing table. They are so excited and you are so excited for them. Another subgroup that I've been finding and target market has been for me empty nesters who want to downsize. That has been a fun market for me because now they get to like actually go in and find the dream place that they've been wanting. Now that all their kids are gone, they get everything they ever wanted and it's actually going to stay nice. so this is it's true though, right? Because now they get their dream home that's going to be in great condition, and this is the fun part for me. Like I love working with empty nesters. So then also again making an offer, whether it be direct or indirect, but also like making sure in that message that you're saying, hey, empty nesters, right? Your message, empty nesters, like, hey, if you're saying, if you're identifying a property specifically, this home is specifically for empty nesters because it has not only 2-car garages, it has a 3rd-car garage for all your toys that you've collected over the years, right? And it has big, wide open gathering spaces, main level living, so you don't have to move again. And a very small maintainable yard, not too small, but it's 25, it's a quarter of an acre, no more than a third, right? So, I mean, you want to make sure that you're tailoring these messages to the people that you're looking for. Understanding your market will determine your message and will determine your offering. So again, what I'm offering is, hey, I I'm the realtor for empty nesters because I understand exactly what you want. And I know you don't want to live in the middle of a brand new development because you don't want to put in another yard. You don't want to be the oldest people on the street. And you don't want low end appliances and you don't want low end fixtures. I know you because you want to be still in a brand new home in the middle of a very established neighborhood. And you also want diversity. And you don't want to be the oldest person, you don't want to be the youngest person. And so you're not in a 55 and older community. I know you. Those are the messages you want to go out and you want to put out to them. So I am the realtor to help you find this lot because this lot right here that I found in Springville on this street will fit every single one of your, it's tailor made just for you, right? So those are the offerings you're giving. You're giving it very direct. Call me today so I can show you this lot and tell you the home that we can build on it. Okay? Yes.
I am Mexican on my mom's side of the family, so obviously doesn't really show, but,
To where I'm half Tongan. No one ever knows. Never ever believes me. But
and, and I was thinking, with such a migration of people, families that move here from Mexico, that move from Latin America, everything. And a friend was like, John, why don't you target those people? And I've been thinking of it, and a lot of my contacts, in my SOI, they are that I've met, at church and everything. I'm Catholic, and a lot of people in my SOI, they're Spanish, and I'm kind of just thinking about it.
yeah.
I would probably, if I was to target that market, I would probably think about, families that, hardworking parents and everything, are saving every nickel, penny, dime, whatever, and they're tired of apartment living, and I'd be targeting like first-time home buyers.
Yeah. And again, you're gonna have to look, I mean, I love what you're doing and what you're thinking. I'd say drill down, understand specifically the culture of what keeps them from purchasing, as well as understanding what they really want. Because what I find, at least within my Polynesian community, the ones who migrate here, the first generation, they don't know the importance of ownership versus the second generation. Second generation is great because they have a little bit more of that American cultural, affluency where they understand why it's important to purchase a home. And so,
Generation, they move in with them.
right. So finding a home where it could be a multi-family situation. So exactly, I would agree with that. So definitely, you're thinking on the right path. So how do you now your job is to find out how do you speak to them in a way that rings true to them, that would be clear to them. So start thinking about that and start drilling it down. Because then your method now becomes now we're gonna look at the method. How do they hear? How do they see you? How do they come to you? Right? Because where do you find these people? Once you've identified those people, where do you find them? Right? So first-time homebuyers, where do we find first-time homebuyers? Anybody? In their mom's basement. Exactly. How many of your neighbors have kids living at home? Right. So you have friends that have kids in their basements. Target those friends, right? Saying, hey, you sick of your kids in your basement? I can help. I can help you kick out your kids, right? But in a funny way. And they actually would probably think it's hilarious, right? So finding that. So again, so where are you marketing to them and where are you prospecting to them? Where are some of the places that you guys have started to market? How long have you two had your licenses? Oh, so you're not, you can't market anything yet. So good luck. The test is great. How about you? A month? Okay. Have you, so where have you guys primarily, just shout it out. Where have you primarily at least thrown stuff out there to market? Huh? Social media, Facebook, Instagram, farm, farm in which way? So you're actually doing mailers? Oh, door knocking. Okay, so door knocking and farming are two different things. Farming is sending out letters, postcards, letter. Yeah, farming is a little different. Great, that's awesome. We had an agent here. He was known as his whole team was based around door knocking because he had done solar cells for years, and so he knocked doors. His first year, he closed 60 transactions. It was nuts. Uh, he's a beast, and he still is in the industry. Just he has his own brokerage now. But he is so that's something that he has done, and he's done it effectively, right? Now he doesn't door knock anymore, which is because he has a good database and he's feeding it in other ways. Okay. So finding like again, prospecting and marketing. So what's the difference between prospecting and marketing? You guys know? Prospect is voice to voice. Marketing is not always. It's usually some type of digital, physical media, or so you want to look at that, the difference between the two of them. Prospecting is voice to voice, whether it's on the phone or in person. Okay. And then also while you're doing your method of prospecting or marketing, again, once you've targeted that market, you time block that, prepare, take action, maintain. I mean, I don't know. We're going to call that good. Okay. So leads are everywhere. Number one, approach, connect, and ask. Kind of what I forget your name again. Who's behind? What's your name again? You're Austin. You're Kyle. Kind of like Austin. I mean, Kyle was saying is like sometimes you'll just talk to people anywhere you go. You go get a filter for your car. It comes up naturally. I will tell you, everywhere I go, I end up in a conversation about real estate, and it's not because I'm looking for a conversation about real estate. I think it's just become so a part of who I am that it just naturally comes up, and I'm not trying to think about leading questions. Now, it did take me a long time to get to this point of like thinking of like leading questions and becoming more and more adept to those conversations. But I find that just because I have constant and like consistent conversations about real estate in general, people call me out of the blue to just do things for them or list their house or help them purchase a home because we've had that conversation several times over years. Not that they were necessarily on my radar, but because of that consistent conversation. I mean, if you talk about, I mean, you seriously can talk about so many different things like in real estate. Hey, welcome. What's your name? Sarah, welcome. They like if you're constantly talking to them about it, like I said, people want to talk about the economy. They want to talk about politics. They want to talk about, they want to talk about lots of things. Real estate is always a very, very safe place to talk about things. I mean, I should say they always want to talk about politics, but it will come up, right? And it's a lot less polarizing and well, depending on the type of real estate you're talking about. I don't know. It depends. But like really, and interest rates are always a hot topic. If you want to talk about interest rates, I mean, anybody will kind of chime in, right? Or the inflation. And that all comes down to a lot about our economy and about real estate. I want to like challenge you guys as you're becoming more and more knowledgeable within real estate, stay connected and understand how the overall economy works. Because the more you have a bigger view of how things are working, the better off you can serve your clientele. My husband, he graduated in economics. And so we are constantly talking about like everything financial, everything about the economy. And we talk about how real estate plays into that. And it's just a fascinating approach, but also giving your clients an overall perspective, because you're going to come across right now people who say, I'm just going to wait for the market to crash. Have you heard that one yet? Yep. Let me ask you, what do you guys think? What do you think of that? That thought. You get it. What? So, why do you get it, and why do you get it? How? How so? Yeah. If they're lower, they pay less out of their pocket per month, right? And also interest. Let me ask you, if you were to be able to see into the future, just randomly, and you found out that things don't crash, what would you be doing today? Right? Okay, so if you were to buy a house today, how long do you think you'd live in it, stay in it? What was that? Yeah, that's a good answer. So like if your situation changes, right? But let me ask you this. If you were to purchase your house today and the economy crashed tomorrow, what would you do? You'd stay in your house. Well, if you bought it today, you'd stay in your house, right? The only people who actually lost out were the people who sold their houses, right? The people who really lost out in the crash of 2008 to 12, pretty much, is when they sold their houses. People who didn't sell their house did not lose their money, and it gave them a place to live. So I want to challenge the thoughts of, if it does crash, I can't tell you what it's going to do. My own opinion, I don't think it will, in that respect, in the way that 2008 happened. That was the greatest housing crisis that we have seen since the Great Depression. How often do you think that's going to happen? Do you really believe it's going to happen within a decade or two after? It could. I'm not going to be naive to the fact that it couldn't, but the likelihood and the factors going into 2008 versus the factors that are going in right now are very, very separate. We had loans that were not good. People they could not afford the homes in the first place, but they still approved them. That is another thing, right? Today, we have people who are being vetted and have very stringent guidelines. So people purchasing homes can purchase them. And we're not seeing homes sitting vacant. They're not being bought up by investors just to sit vacant. Today, people live in their homes. So there's a lot of factors. So I'm saying, understand the overall economy to overcome these objections. Because the reality is if the housing market crashes and you still are in that higher rate payment, say that our interest rates come down, what can you do? Refinance. And if you refinance, what does that mean? Lower payment. And if you lose your job and you would have to move out of that home, what could you do with a lower payment? You can rent it out. So help be a person of like solution finding for your people. So that's what I'm saying. While you're prospecting, while you're talking, while you're marketing to your people, find those conversations and have a good, deeper conversation. Anything that I said, is anything that I said something that you hadn't considered? So start considering those things, because you want to be the expert. You want to be the person somebody runs to when there is like an issue. I've had clients call me and say, you know, my husband lost his job. We're going to have to sell our house. I'm really scared. You know, all of our money is inside of our house. What do I do? We can't apply for an equity line of credit because we have no income. There's just nothing. So then my job is to say, hey, I personally don't like taking people out of their homes if I don't have to. I really, really believe in keeping people in their homes if we can make it work. So helping them find a good equitable solution is something that we can do. But again, we have to be a little bit bigger in our mindset and understanding. And pushing them to the right professionals. I don't pretend that I'm a tax accountant. I don't pretend that I'm a lender. I don't pretend that I know everything, but I will point them to somebody that does have more depth of knowledge on it. And I will say, hey, this is something I heard. Let me get you connected with them. So being a connector of your people to solutions is a great thing. And they will use you a lot. All right. Give me some of your thoughts of anything that you learned.
How we bring up the subject, and kind of in the same line as Kyle. It so far it's been a natural conversation.
Yeah.
It really has, and people do open up when I'm prospecting, and most people do. And I've gotten a couple of pretty darn good leads, and it just what am I trying to say? I think for myself, the one that I'm getting is about like going the database, and I'm adding context to it. And I be consistent. Really, bottom line for me, the thing that I've struggled with is that this office does offer a plethora of training, information, and everything, and I want to be like that eager beaver. I just want to start going, and I just want to start, pounding doors, making calls, which I'm doing, but not as much as I'd like to. And so for the sake of consistency, I had to sit down one night and figure out what are my obligations, like Ignite training, foundations, and of course, our team under Coach Cameron, we get together, we have meetings as well. And so for the sake of trying to be consistent, I sat down one day, and something I'd never done is work out a freaking schedule. And now that I have that, everything that I want to do, and everything that fellow Williams wants for me from a great agent, I've kind of reconciled that. So
Cool.
I'm doing the training, and at the same time, I've got my prospecting schedule.
Yep. Very good. Yeah. You could sit inside this classroom all day, every day, because they have classes all day, every day. Biggest thing is yeah, going and doing. You're going to learn so much more by doing and failing than just sitting and observing. So that was my big thing is when I first started again, I was working on staff and seeing agents that would come in and just watch and not do, because they felt like being here was a doing, but it's not. You have to go out and you have to talk to those people. You have to feed that pipeline. So prospecting versus marketing, we kind of, I think I just kind of went through that, you guys, sorry. So again, I'm just going to keep going through this. All right. So when you're talking about marketing and prospecting, the difference between the two, again, voice to voice versus, digital or non face to face. money intensive. So marketing is money intensive, it's passive, and it's long-term results. So your emails, your constant emails, your mailers, if you're doing mailers, your online leads that you're like, if you're doing an online ad spend, things like that, that is marketing. That is outward marketing. If you're spending money towards that, it is, and you're not talking to them, that is what marketing is. Okay. Your prospecting, that is the one again where the rubber meets the road. That is when you actually are able to connect and you're actually be able to move them down the pipeline. So you might get a whole bunch of leads and say you buy leads off of Zillow, for example. Don't do that now, trust me. But if say that's the thing that you're going to go after, you pay money into Zillow. If those leads come into the pipeline, but you never call them or you call them once or twice, what did you guys just do? You wasted your money. So it's in the follow-up. Cold leads are hard. I've spent stupid money on cold leads, you guys. It is not worth your time to go and buy leads on some generalized website. You guys are going to get so many people calling you, talking to you, saying, oh yeah, I can help you. I can do digital marketing. I can do this. And they may sell you on it. And you're going to spend money, and I call it learning money, on things that you realize are not going to pan out. You laugh because you know. Right. Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing is like, go talk to the agents who are really really doing well and ask them what they're doing. There are some really awesome teams, agents that do pay for leads. And I mean, actually consistently they pay for ad spend. They pay for certain things. And it's working out for them because they've honed in their message. They know who their audience is and they know what their message is. And they've honed in that marketing arm of their business. That is wonderful. But you also have to be an agent that will follow up on those leads. I learned part of my problem was that I hate calling cold leads. I do. Even if they filled out a form, I just hate calling it. Like, I'm a very like warm person. If I know you and I see you in the street, I'm going to go over and hug you, right? Like I love people. And so the minute that they're not familiar with me, I am definitely not as consistent at following up with them. That is just me. So I've learned that that's not my system. That is not how I prospect. That's not how I market. Go ahead. I do. So I'll share that with you guys in a bit. But yes, I do. So again, I am great at following up with people that I know and that I really, or if it's people I know or people that if they're referrals from other people, I will take it very seriously. Just the minute that someone fills out a form online does not mean anything to me because sometimes, I mean, people are tricked to fill out forms online and just to so they can get the information they wanted, right? That is how it works. So a lot of times, a lot of leads, again, depending on how well your funnel is and how well your marketing is, people who fill out those forms online, sometimes they have no idea why they filled it out. And when you call them, they're like, oh, I'm sorry. I was just trying to understand what it takes to buy a home for the first time. I already have an agent. Right. So you get that. So that's not the realm that I personally like to do it. But so some of the marketing things that I use that has been super helpful that I absolutely love. There's one, it's called HomeBot. And that has been one of my top performing um uh marketing, like what's called mailer, my email list. So HomeBot, what it does, and again, if you guys want information on it, you're welcome to ask me later and I can send you the information on it. But I pay for this service for them to pretty much everybody in my database. I've input their names, addresses of what I know where it's at, along with just a few other things like just personal information. That HomeBot actually sends them a weekly email of their home valuation along with other market information. So it's more educational and it's very relevant to that person. That is my number one opened email. And engagement. And you know what's funny is it gives me data back saying, This person has been on there, has opened up their email this many times or has been on the website this many times. And whenever I start seeing it sneak up over 10 times, I know that if I text them or reach out to them, they're going to be asking me real estate questions. It's just how it is. So I love my HomeBot because it's super helpful and it's information that's so relevant and so specific to that one person. And they can go in, they can change if they've moved, they can change the address and they can toggle how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, the condition of the home so they can kind of play around with the valuation. And then they can also request an actual valuation from me from the website, which has been awesome because I'll get requests saying, hey, I want to know my valuation. So then I'll call them and have a good conversation about, are you thinking about selling? So I'm on the front end and I get to see that part of it. That's been one of my best performing passive marketing ways to go. Okay. So it's my marketing way to go that's passive that brings it to a proactive, which is awesome. Okay. I think we've already kind of talked about this. Different ways to prospect. Okay. Listings without agency for sell by owners. Has anybody even tried to call for sell by owner? No? Why do you say that? Yeah, they do. That's a good question. Solve it. Solve it if you want to. Is she here? Is it Chamberlain? No? Yep. Yeah, it's true. So one of my first listings actually was for sell by owner. And they actually were having an open house. I just walked into their open house and the owner was asleep on the couch because nobody had come through. And this is like when there were steady flows of people through open houses. And so I came in and he was asleep and I just said, "Excuse me." And he goes, "Oh, sorry." He's like, I just was resigned that no one was coming, you know? And I said, "Well, I'm coming and I'm here to help you sell this house because clearly nobody's walking through it." And he just laughed and I laughed and I said, "No, really, like what has been your experience?" And he says, "Well, I get way more realtors than I get people." And I said, "Yeah, because we're super annoying." And like, so it's just like using humor, having fun, connecting with them on a level. And I said, "So why are you even I said, "Why are you doing a sell by owner?" Understanding the why, right? I said, "So why, if you're not getting anybody, why are you doing this?" He's like, "Well, I absolutely need every dollar to get into my next house." He said, "Every dollar is going to count because we are stretching ourselves so much to get to the next house." And I said, "Well, where's the next house?" And he said, "Well, we have our eyes on it and it's this." And I said, So if I can help you get into that next house and sell this one and help you purchase the other one for a better price so that you're not stretching, would you sell with me? And he said, well, I doubt that you can do that. And I said, well, why not try? He's like, yeah, okay, whatever. So we were able to negotiate on the other side quite a few concessions, along with being able to help him sell his home actually to a neighbor that was very interested, but again, didn't want to interface with the owner themselves because that they want that separation. And we were able to save him and get him into the two places. So understanding their motivation is a huge, huge win. Showing up and doing makes a big difference. So yeah, there's lots of opportunities out there. You just have to look for them. And using and utilizing understanding that yes, there's some for sell by owners that will never ever use an agent. They are the homie agent. I shouldn't say homie. I should shut up. But like they are the discount. They want somebody who for a discount, and they don't value some agents. I will say this again over a million times over, just so you know. If somebody wants you to cut your commission to such a low amount to match a very, very low price, it may not be worth it. As exciting and fun as it can be, it may not be worth it. I've taken on too many to realize that those are the hardest personalities to work with, and it doesn't end up being worth your time. But if you're wanting to put in the time to just get the experience down, more power to you. I just have learned that I will not bring on those people anymore, and I won't hire them as my client. So, circle prospecting. Anytime you have a listing, a sold, you call around the people that are in the area. A lot of times neighbors come to open houses, things like that. I haven't really utilized this realm very often. Have you done circle prospecting at all? Good. That's great. Cool. Yeah. And for the vast majority of people, they're going to see these flyers and they're like, oh, it's not for me. But for the few that does make sense. Exactly. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Is like the vast majority, it's not going to, but like it's finding the one or two that are going to be the right way. Yep. So, yep, it's true. Okay. This is huge. Okay, so there's the community outreach. Obviously, like being involved in your community is huge. If you are not involved in your community, that's fine. It's just that you have a higher likelihood of meeting more people, and people who feel passionate about something that you feel passionate about, they tend to cling to those people more, and they tend to want to work with those people. So if you have something that you're passionate about, find some type of charity or community, program that you can be a part of so that you can connect with those people. That is a great way to find for new people. Key relationships. Okay, so when they say key relationships, these are referral partners, people who can refer to you several times over. Identify these people, you guys. These are awesome people. Corporations, builders, banks, third-party data companies, investors. Like these are people, like people who own these things. These are ones that like if you get in the door with them, you may have a large opportunity. There are plenty of agents in our office that work with builders. Builders are being hit up all the time. But if you have a good friend that's a builder, why not start something with that? I'm actually just barely starting. I have a builder down in South County. He's bringing me on to do all of his spec homes. So I'm just starting to get all of the lots together for us to start to list and put spec homes up, which is going to be great. It's been 10 years. I haven't worked with a builder like that one-on-one before. So it's been fun. It'll be great to see and see how this relationship keeps going. Find people who can give you several referrals. Who are some other people that you guys can identify? Professionals or people that would give consistent referrals, or who would be a good connection? Past clients? Yep. Medical? Yes, I will challenge that thought in the sense that, do you believe that your medical professional could give you the name of another person that they're seeing in a referral? He could.
He could be kind of give them my contact.
Yep. He absolutely could. I will say I haven't seen much come from medical, but and I had a good friend tell me it's because of no matter what, like they only give out referrals to other physicians most of the time, unless it's a dear friend, right? But because of their outside of their reach, like it's outside of their practice, they don't want to do that, right? Because of malpractice and also confidentiality. So find the people. So let me give you an example of people that I have overlooked, but like have become some of my biggest referrers. My hairdresser. They know everything about every person because they're sitting in their chair for hours. And I'm not joking, my hairdresser has sent me so many people over the years. It is crazy. She herself, her kids, her so many of her clients become my clients. And so it's funny because now when I go get my hair done from her, I usually bump into somebody that I've already worked with. So it's because like we're switching places. So that is something that find the people that can refer to you, people who are in the know, people who are connected. So these are like the investors, builders, like those are like the common people, but people who are everyday people, the freaking PTA president. If you're on her good side, great. If you're on her bad side, goodbye, right? But like the thing is, like if you're connected to these people, make sure that they know, hey, look, like I'm here to help them because they hear everything. Who are those people that are listening? So service-based businesses. My other really good friend who's an esthetician, she sends me people because again, these are services. But my massage therapist has sent me a handful of people. They hear, listen, and people open up to them. Okay. And it's not without outside of their realm or scope to say, oh, I have somebody. Okay. So look for the everyday people that have a connection to lots of new people that can refer you. And then in turn take care of those people. So when they give you a referral, make a big deal out of it. Give them a gift card and tell them thank you so much. And just really like cultivate that relationship. You're gonna have a handful of people who become your biggest referrers. Teaching and speaking opportunities, taking people out to dinner or lunch or whatever, right? Walking door to door, networking events. Okay, I'm a part of a group called BNI. Anybody familiar with that? Yeah? Have you guys been to one? Are you in one? You're not a part of it. But because usually the realtor seat is like the number one seat to be taken out. So I actually joined a BNI. All of them in Utah County were taken, the main realtor seat. And so I actually joined it as the real estate investment seat. So I was able to every single week talk about investments in real estate. So I was in charge of everybody who's looking to invest in or a second home. That is huge because that's taking off the plate of the main agent. Those they can help people buy and sell individually, but anything above that is in the real estate residential seat. So I started there. This last year, a position in one of the top performing chapters in Utah, or in Utah County, or I'm sorry, in this region, I guess, between here and St. George, it came available. And they called me, one of my friends called me and said, hey, come to our group. The main agency is open. And I said, okay. I show up, there's 18 other agents looking to get into this group. It was nuts. Did you go to that one at all? No? Which one was it? Do you know? Okay. Net gain? Yeah, that's what I'm in. Yeah. Up in London. Oh no, that one's like over 100 now, people. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
Driving, I live in North Sky, so driving to Provo, it was a lot of time that would have required.
Yeah. Yeah. So it depends on the group for sure. The Yeah, that's so Lane Thompson in our office is that in that group. And he's a top performing agent. Yeah. Yeah. I mean it's really cool, but it's intense. 100 people is intense. So my group is in Linden. We have 65 people in it, so it's quite large. But there were 17 applicants there. And gratefully I won. Gratefully I was able to be one who got to be the main agent in that group. I was, to be honest, I was kind of shocked because there were 3 agents from our office alone, which are incredible agents that were there. But I will say this, so that was a year ago. It does take time to get up and network and get to know people. This month, just this last week, in the last week, I closed 3 from that group. So there's power in networking and getting in, like having those conversations with those people. It takes time, it will. But I will say it is very, very fruitful if you learn how to network and you learn how to do it well. You don't have to network in a BNI, but there are lots of networking groups. If you know who to target and how to talk to them, that is a big thing. And keeping them in your pipeline. Don't just talk to people, put them in your pipeline, put them somewhere. Mine's archaic, but I have a spreadsheet. I have a spreadsheet that I go through every day that anybody I talk to, I dump on there. That if I talk to them and they mention they want to look for real estate, I dump them on there. So I know that they're active and I can start to follow up. Okay. So don't just do that. Like you have to put them somewhere because you have so many conversations. I will say this. I'm ADHD all over the place. Like I love like talking to people and I have every great intention. And like on the back end, my execution isn't always great. Like I'm not going to pretend like I'm amazing at everything. No, like not at all. But I will say that like I've missed out on so many great opportunities with people who are already in my pipeline, but because I did not follow up, they went to somebody else. I wasn't the person top of mind. That was my problem. I had to fix that. So I had to find a system that worked. You're going to get so much freaking technology from KW. Like it's overwhelming. It's so overwhelming. And then like I said, you're going to get so many companies and emails and everything saying, this is perfect for your database and this is perfect for it. Find a system that works for you. At the end of the day, you have to have them somewhere and you have to find it works for you. I use KW systems specifically just for my transactions and to hold my database. But all my other like emails and things like that, they're in HomeBot, they're in MailChimp, in systems that I can work with that work well for me. Okay. So you guys find what works for you. And then, like I said, my actual pipeline is on an Excel spreadsheet because that's something I can open up anywhere where I'm at. I don't have to worry about an app like not going well. I can just do it wherever I'm at. So any system you implement, do it in a way that's going to complement already who you are and what you're doing. If you try to restructure everything all at once, you're going to be able to maintain it for a very small amount of time, and then it falls off, right? So find things that complement who you are and your personality, and refine it over time. Okay. I don't know if this is helpful for you guys, but this is something that I've just learned over and over. I've seen with agents. They'll come in and they'll be like, okay, I'm not necessarily this type of a person, but now I'm going to be this person. And they do great, but then they completely burn out. They crash and burn after so much time. Like, do and try new things. That's not the thing I'm saying. Go and try and do things. But when you find that it's not for you, drop it quickly and move it on. Don't keep burning it, because then you will get burnt out, and then it'll take a lot more for you to get restarted. Okay. Okay, your marketing, online marketing, different types of online marketings. I think we talked about it. Bus stop benches, you guys, who wants one? I'm just kidding. I don't think I've ever seen one done, but billboards, yellow pages. Anybody have yellow pages? Let's ask that. I'm sorry, like some of these are a little outdated here. Moving vans, people have them. Radio. Anybody really listen to the radio, like ads anymore? No. You do? The news. Yeah. That's true. That's true. Again, depending on your target market, don't just throw spaghetti against the wall. Have a very specific target market in mind when you're doing it, and then utilize that's whatever space they're going to be at, wherever they gather, right? So if you are more so like a NPR person, right, that you're like, okay, I'm going to do an ad on NPR podcast or whatever, right? That'd be a lot of money, just saying. But say that, who is that target market, target audience? Who are the people who listen to that? Right? So find those communities of people, make sure that you're marketing specifically and directly to the people of where you're finding their space. So, direct mailers. How many of you have looked at your direct mail and actually utilized the postcard or coupon that comes in it? Yeah. Have you guys ever used a coupon or used them? Yeah, because it's more relevant. It's more relevant, right? So yeah, right. So farming, kind of what you were saying, is farming is an area that you decide that you want to identify for and mail to them consistently. It's a very expensive route to go. So I say, until you have money coming in, don't go that route. It's a very long-term, very expensive way to do it. However, here's the thing. I only pay attention to the ads and mail that come through when I'm just going through it, and then all of a sudden something sticks out to me because that's what I'm looking for right now. Right? It's not relevant until it's relevant, if that makes sense. So that's what the power of farming. It's not going to be relevant most of the time, but then for the few that it does, you can capitalize on those. So some people, like I said, farm very specific places, like where I used to live in a condo when I was first an agent. And there was this couple that they farmed my complex very, very consistently. We had their postcard all the time. But guess what? I actually capitalized on their farming, and I turned around and I actually started farming my own complex. I said, hey, I live here. I live here. I live here. I'm with you. I know exactly what you're going through. I live here. The people who were ready to sell, they actually ended up calling me. And I actually, they said, well, I was thinking about calling this other person that keeps giving us postcards, but I love that you live here. So it was actually really cool. So look for the opportunities. So thank you, somebody else who spent years farming my place. Just kidding. So, look for just different opportunities. Okay. We already talked about it. Okay. All right. Give me the things that you guys are feeling or thoughts, just in general. Like, what makes you squirm about this subject?
Like I was saying earlier, it's just the plethora of information, I mean, coming to the Ignite sessions and learning about different techniques or different methods or what works for that particular agent who speaks, or like, what works for you and everything. And so I think it's just, the thing that really resonates to me is when you said, do what feels natural, do what works for your personality, for your skill set, and stick with it. Yeah, that was pretty powerful.
Thank you. Awesome. Just give me your yeah, go ahead. It is. Awesome. Yeah, I pay $25 a month. Yeah. And yeah, you could set it up. Yeah, you could set up how the frequency, but they give really good market stats. Like, that's what I'm saying is, like, to me, it's like what I love about, and I get a weekly email of stats of people looking, who, like, the data of who's engaging. So I'd say I really like that tool. Again, for some it's not for them. Others it is. Like, if you have a younger, group that don't own their homes, it's different, but you can set them up as a buyer in there, and they give out really great buyer information. So, and it shows engagement on that as well. So you can see how often they're looking at that. Yes. Did you raise your hand? Oh no, you're just moving your arms around. All right, perfect. um, okay, what are some of the frustrating things that you're coming up against or like nervous about when it comes to prospecting marketing? Do not call us. So calling, just cold calling and finding a do not. That's so here's a question. What would put you in the position of actually of what would you be doing to put yourself in that position? Uh-huh. That's okay. I can relate to that. Oh, okay. So I'll give you a good example of this, not to scare you further, but so I have a family member that I had put him on HomeBot, and she's been in my database for years, and I had been sending her emails here and there. But HomeBot, on the other hand, because it is more relevant to their home where they're at, when I switched over to that, I got this call from this family member, and I mean, it's a distant family member, but saying, um, who gave you permission to access my information? And I said, excuse me? I said, what are you talking? I said, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, what did I do something wrong? And she said, well, all this information you're sending to me via HomeBot, she said, is private information. And I like, the thing is, she's very conspiratorial and yes, paranoid is a good word. Paranoid. So, but that is something that is a good. I mean, the thing is, I did not ask her if she wanted to be a part of that platform. I asked her if I could put on her my email list, which before she was just fine. I did not ask that permission, and I realized what I did wrong. So, yes, part of it is having those conversations. So when I actually told her, I said, "This is stuff." I said, "This is data they pull from public information." I said, "This is data that anybody can pull up." And when she finally realized that that was the truth, she was okay and she calmed down, right? And I said, "There's nothing on there that says you're social, you're anything." And she said, "Okay." She said, "Well, how do they know where I live?" And I said, "That is a public record. That is on the county records. Like anybody can get your address." And when she realized that, she really did calm down. Again, I don't know what's going on in her life, right? But I think there is something to be said about uh letting people know what you're doing when you're doing it. Not always, like some people are just great. It's people you've already worked with, right? So I would say ask them, just say, "Look, would you mind if I sent you information on the valuation of your home?" Like I know that that's helpful for a lot of people, whether it means that they want to sell or not. Sometimes knowing their value makes a huge difference in them being able to pull out equity on their home for other expenses. Um, That's helpful. A lot of people love that. People love talking about the valuation of their home, even though they have zero intent of moving, right? Um, but yeah, so I can understand that, but you having those conversations with them that you're in real estate and that you'd like to give them helpful information and then get their contacts, like their email, that is going to be key. Yeah, you want to hear something funny about that? I have, okay, this is even funnier. So when I first set them all up, I actually had about 15 people unsubscribe. 10 of those people consistently still get on their HomeBot to look at their valuations because like they know that now they have the platform where they can go and get it. That's not Zillow. Because I always tell them to check it with Zillow too. And so and they're like, "Oh, it's so different," right? It's sometimes it is, sometimes it's not, but they're pulling from a lot of different sources. So, but yeah, they can totally unsubscribe. That's on their end. But 10 of my people that unsubscribed are still connecting with it consistently, which I think is kind of funny. I didn't. So that was my fault. But like, because they had already been on my email list prior to that, right? So I had just pulled all those people and put them in there. Well, I didn't pull all of them. I pulled my top most relevant people that would be good. Because I mean, HomeBot you pay with how many people are in there in that database, and so I pulled out my top 300. Right? I mean, I have a database of like 7,000. So like I know it's nuts, right? But that's been years, 10 years of building people and putting them in the pipeline and finding out where they're at. But the reality is like, okay, yeah, 2,000 of those leads are ones that I bought that were just junk leads, right? So then I'll go and I'll clean it up, but there's still power in keeping them connected if they're not unsubscribing, right? Yeah. Yeah, because that's part of the data collection that you're doing when you're talking to people or getting to know them. Honestly, I looked a lot of them up on like Utah County, like on the records. Or Remine on our MLS. Remine is a great place to go get that information. So it's a plugin. Have you ever used Remine? Awesome. It even tells you mortgage information, how much they took out on the mortgage and how much they have projected that they have left. So their equity in it. I utilize that tool a lot as well. So go in and understand your tools. These are the tools that I have found, again, that have worked for me. Don't feel like you have to go and reinvent the wheel and do whatever, but for me, that's working, right? But the more and more you can drill it down and narrow down the people, like building that pipeline, identifying your top people, and then really going after the ones that are, again, your top refers, your top, your hottest leads is huge. Okay. Okay, client referrals always provide value. Okay, I had another. Sorry, Cam, I don't know if you're listening, but always use your KW app. You guys decide. Like I've never handed my KW app to other people, but it just depends on again what you guys are looking for. I like to simplify things. I don't want to have to do one more thing, make my clients do one more thing. So if I'm sending them homes on utahrealestate.com, I'm having them download their utahrealestate.com app and I'm sending them homes via that. Because me doing more systems, it it gives me more work. So I'm utilizing the systems that I'm already using. Okay. Share market stats and provide vetted vendor list. This is a huge one too. People that you consistently refer to as an agent, they typically become really great referral partners. So like obviously your home inspector, you can't really ask for referrals back as much because they're servicing lots of agents. I am his client and every other agent is his client, right? But your referral people, like say your HVAC person who comes in to help with repairs, they're inside people's houses every day, all day. They know what's going on. A lot of times they're asking them questions like, oh, so what's, they diagnose something and they say, do you want to get this fixed? A lot of times people say, oh, we're selling it. What do you think? I don't know. I've had referrals given to me because of that. So your plumbers, your handymen, people are getting their house prepped to sell and they're calling your handyman to go and go through things beforehand, before they're calling a realtor. It just find your referral partners, people who are on the front end that can also refer you. Okay. Reward your referrals, like I said, make it a big deal, say thank you, and and then you can like I said, you can do a gift. You can give them a gift. You cannot openly say you're going to give out referral. You can't give them money. Like you can't just say, oh, if you use me, I will give you $1,000. Well, you can say that as an agent. Actually, you could say, I will give you back I will discount by $1,000. You can say that. But to me, the minute you discount yourself, I feel like people they're going to want to barter with you even more. You're going to get the wrong type of people. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Or say, are you going to buy or sell yet? Just kidding. You want to go see a house? Actually, it's really fun. I'll go through that in a minute, but agent to agent referrals. Anybody going to family reunion? You are? Awesome. It's your first one. Awesome. You're gonna love it. I'll be there too. So, yep, it's gonna be a party. So family reunion. I mean, it's not like a real family reunion. There's a lot of dysfunction, but no, I'm just kidding. No, it's actually really fun. The thing is that's where a lot of agents go to network with other agents. If you are coming, like say you are a transplant to Utah, you moved all over and your main people are in California, go network with an agent, look them up beforehand, ask them if they're going to family reunion, meet up with them. If there's someone who's literally working your area that you used to live in, call them and say, I have lots of people that I would love to refer to you. If you have anybody coming up here, would please keep me in mind. But I've done that several times where my family members outside of state call me first because they're like, I want to buy a house. What would you say is the first step? I'd say, first off, find yourself a great agent. Do you want me to call and vet one for you? Do you want me to interview them? And they're like, oh, yeah. Or sometimes they already they have somebody that they really trust and like. Then I'll say, great, let me connect with them and let me just see what I can do to help. So I usually call them and I'll say, hey, this person's looking, I'd love to send you a referral. And you can get paid 25% on those people, up to 35%, depending on the people, on the agent. So it's great. But the thing is, you get to also have meaningful conversations with other agents to make sure that they really are going to be an advocate for the person that you care about. I think that's huge. I have my sister's in-laws that are in Georgia that they call me about real estate stuff all the time. I don't live in Georgia, but have I found two agents there that I really like? Yes. And have I referred them over several houses? Yes. So look around and again, if they're out of state, doesn't mean they're out of mind. Like take care of your people because you care about them. Okay. Uh just growing your agent referral program. You guys are probably already starting to get emails from other agents at KW. Some will spam you. Hey, we're giving a 35% referral fee. Da, 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 da. Some people that this their whole business is all agent referrals. Okay. Um, business to business referrals. That's what I'm in, my BNI, finding a good business. Are any of you guys in contact with other businesses? Like consistently? Like what? No, that's great. I mean, I just wanted to see like what kind of businesses, but it doesn't matter what kind of business, but like you work with a lot of business owners and you understand because you've been a business owner and you still are, right? In a different respect. You're taking more on the sales role again, right? So, what's one of the hardest things that you find with business owners when it comes to purchasing a home? I don't know if you've gotten that far yet. Can I share with you mine? Because I deal with a lot of business owners. 1099 income, proving their income. Because you as an agent right now being 1099, being your own sales agent, can you go get a loan right now being less than 2 years? No. No matter how much you love doing real estate and you're doing well, how easy is it for you to get a loan? So I love working with 1099 because I have found some other programs that have helped them that with some lenders that can get them before the 1099 and that isn't gouging them either because they're 1099. Because business owners, their their incentive is to write off as much as they possibly can so they don't pay as much taxes down the road. But if they it's a catch 22. If they don't claim enough, even though the money's coming in, they cannot afford or they cannot qualify for a home that they want. And so a lot of times they feel like I have to wait another 2 years and increase my taxes and it's not worth it to them. So a lot of them do just end up going other routes or they just give up altogether and they're like, we'll just stay here and we'll just add on to the house. Have you ever seen that before? Yeah, 1099 is not easy until like they're a little bit more of a bustling business and they have a little bit more of owner share, things like that. But it does take a while for them to get to that point. But someone who's been in a business 5 years and under and they're doing well, that that's where I say be a solution finder. I found that I had a lot of people that were in that boat. So my job is to help them find that solution. We found one that's been really, really great. People call me out of nowhere saying, hey, I hear you're kind of the person to talk to if I own my own business. So business to business. And again, finding those businesses of people that know how to refer. Like you have so many, like you have a business owner who's literally also building a pipeline of people. Their job is to bring in a pipeline of people. Why would you not capitalize on understanding how you can co-market or service their clients? Because if you can bring something to the table that's going to service their clients on a higher level, of course they would refer you out, or of course they would allow you to connect with their people. Okay. So think outside the box too. All right. All right. This is all that I geographic farming, we talked about that. Events, seminars, you guys are already in an event. I mean, you guys are already there's just so many ways. I don't want to like overboard you or like over give you so many things, but there really are biggest thing, there are leads everywhere. Um, let's see. Repair shop, you just talked about that, Kyle. Hair salon, I talked about that. Grocery store, coffee shop. But don't be the weird person that's gonna be like, hey, I'm in real estate, just overheard you talking next, about a house. Like, I can help you with that. That's weird. Don't do it, right? But if you do overhear somebody talking, I like to use humor, right? I like to use humor to talk to people. And so, like, if I overhear something that, oh, we went to this open house, super hideous, I will turn around and be like, oh, which one? Like, I'll say which one. I'm like, oh, I'm an agent. Like, I probably walked through it. And if they say it, then I'll be like, oh, yeah, that one was a doozy, right? Or whatever, right? Like that it's funny because like sometimes I'll like you just like you could connect to people more naturally and you'll get better as it comes on. Yeah. Yep. They're right next to each other. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. And and exactly like because it's gonna be relevant to the people that's gonna be relevant to, right? And when you're so close. Yeah, it's funny because my husband says like every time I've gone to get my hair done, he's like, "You come home with a new client." And I just laugh because I'm like, "Well, yeah." He's like, "Well, you need to go more often." He's like, because he's like, "Just go get more clients." And so it's kind of a funny thing that we just say. I'm like, I'm just gonna go to the salon. He's like, "You mean you're gonna go to work?" you know. But it's one of those things where it's like I found a good place for it. And so having those conversations, more natural conversations, that just get into the habit of talking about it. Right now, you feel a little awkward because you're like, I'm brand new. I don't know what to say. Um, my very first listing, my very first client period, I'll tell you, I like again, I wanted just the being on the staff side, getting my license. I'm like, I just wanted the experience to help agents like you guys to like get like real life like experience. Cause I'm like, I did not want to teach this if I didn't understand it, like if that makes sense. So so I literally went over to my neighbor's house because I knew she'd be selling her home. She told me she was going to be getting ready to sell it. Um, so I walked over to her house and I said, "Look, I just got my license, my real estate license. I'm not going to pretend like I'm the best agent you've ever had." I said, I really am learning. I don't know. I don't know what I don't know, but I will work really hard for you if you'll give me the chance to sell your home. I will not pretend that I know everything and I will go to I will go to the people that have the experience. But every question you ask, I will get an answer for you. Maybe not in the moment, but I will. I said, would you let me list your home? And she goes, well, yeah, of course. And I was like, okay, that's awesome. And so that was it. That was my first listing, but that was within a week of my very first like getting my license. And so and I like because I was very real with her. And after like I sold her house and I helped her purchase another one. And actually have helped her two of her kids, since then purchase homes. And and I asked her, I said, okay, like, because she was 70 years old and she had had several agents at that point. And I said, why did you take a chance on me? Like, why did you choose me? And she said, well, you asked. And you didn't pretend like you were gonna be something you weren't. And I said, okay, I appreciate that. So sometimes it does just take asking. Even if you're new, it doesn't mean you could get beat out by somebody who has more experience, but you also could beat out somebody with experience because you have the time and the energy and effort to put into it. Right? So don't discount yourself that you're new and ask for those opportunities And some family members and some friends, they may not be as excited to use you because you are new, and that's okay. Like I've had that too. But utilize the people that will and just ask because it doesn't hurt to ask. And if it's going to hurt your feelings to ask, then don't. You're going to grow really thick skin real fast in this business. And then, okay, we already talked about this. Sorry, you guys. I'm kind of going through all of it once, but like pipeline, making sure that you guys capture the leads. Okay, so actually, I was going to tell you about this. So this is the command side of it, putting it in here. Like I said, I put people into this database, this overall database, because it's a long, big one. I still will throw them in there, right? But like my actual leads, I will put on my spreadsheet. Okay, so I double input it. So it's good to have them in both spaces because some people who are leads are not pipeline. They're not ready enough. They're not in that looking phase. Okay. And then okay, so one thing I was gonna say is capturing people at open houses. How many of you done an open house? Yeah. Did you have a sign-in sheet? How did you get them? How did you capture leads?
They were already neighbors. The house was bought, flipped, so they completely got into the area.
So they were just like kind of like they're just totally curious. Oh, I always get those with because me and my husband, we've gutted houses, we've done flips, we've done higher end flips. Like I love that side of things. So yes, I totally get it. That's fun. Um, so I'll tell you what I do with open houses, and it came by more of like accident. I didn't mean to do it this way. I had left my sign-in sheet. So I had my computer that I first had a actual physical sign-in sheet. Again, best intentions, terrible execution on my part. I would get that paper and I'm like, oh yeah, all these people came through here. And then I'd put it away and I'd say, I'll input it later. And I never did. Like, that's the thing is you're going to learn what works for you and what doesn't. So then I was like, okay, I need something that's more like streamlined. So then I made a Google form and put it on my computer and had people just type it in and sign in like on a little Google form when they came in. That way it was just automatically in there, right? Which was great. But I will say this. I had one week, and this was more recently this last year. One week I had forgotten my computer. Like my computer, I thought it was like in my purse, and I grabbed my purse, left. It was at my house. So I'm like, I don't have a sign-in sheet. I don't have a computer. So I started just telling people who came in, just started talking to them, talked them up, seeing like what they were looking for, how they found us. First thing is, how did you find us? Right. And then, do you have an agent? And what are you guys looking for right now? Are you guys just looking around doing what, and the people that did have an agent, I'd say, okay, perfect. Let me hurry. I don't have I do this on purpose though. Like now, again, my computer and my print offs to the home, the property print offs were at my home at that time. So I just told every person, I said, okay, here, let me give you all of the like the information of this property. What's your phone number? And I'd get their phone number. And I said, I'm going to text it to you right now. So I'd get their phone number, they'd text it and I'd say, hey, this is Jackie Peterson from the open house. And then I'd say, what was your name again? And then I'd capture the name. So then they have my phone number and my name, and I have their phone number and their name. And so if I were to reach out again, it wouldn't be as weird because I am somebody that's already in their phone, right? So I did that that week, and I was like, well, this is what I have. So, but because of that, actually, I have captured more buyers. I have more buyers in my pipeline from open houses from this last year than I ever have because of that. So what I do, yes. So when I don't put them in my database, I do text them and I do like give them that sheet or whatever. I mean, sorry, the property information, right? The link. So I'll send them the Utah real estate link. And then, but then I always ask them, say, who's your agent? And so I'll text him and I say, I'll put on there, I say, this is Jackie Peterson. Remind me who your agent is as my text that goes to them so that they can text it back to me. So that I can connect that agent. If they don't respond to me, a few days later when I'm following up again, I'll say, hey, how did you guys like that house? I didn't, you didn't tell me your agent's name. I was going to follow up with them. Can I get their name? And usually they'll send it, or sometimes they'll just ignore me. So, but it has been more effective for me. So, because at that point, if they're not telling me their agent, how am I supposed to follow up? Like I said, so, okay. All right. I think we're at the end, folks. Nope. Yeah. We're at the end. What questions? Any questions do you guys have for me? Sure. Whoever wants to stay, I'll explain it. Yeah. Yeah. Anything that you guys will utilize. There's a lot of information, you guys. I get it. This is like you're biting off, a little at a time, but any one system that you feel like you want to try or one lead generation way. Oh, yeah. Homebot. Yeah. Uh, and MailChimp. Yeah. MailChimp is just, it's just an easy set and forget. And it has like, I like it just because I like to control more of the information that goes out. That's stuff that I would say. Does that make sense? Like, I want it to sound more like me rather than here's all the data, some of the stuff there's a lot of really good stuff that's already been created out there that I'll just utilize. But doing something is important. So I guess I could use KW stuff. I just don't. So yeah. Okay. You guys, awesome. Congratulations for making it through Ignite so far. You guys have a few more left, but feel free. You guys are welcome to give me a call, ask me questions like on my systems. I'm happy to share. I'm an open book. Most agents that teach these classes are, most agents in our office are, because it's just that's a culture here. But I would say your biggest thing, you're going to learn more by doing than sitting. Being in this classroom is awesome. You guys probably took some ideas from me or from somebody before me that you're like, okay, I absolutely agree with that. I'm going to do that. But then there's also going to be things that you're going to learn just by doing that absolutely will fail. Because again, what Peter Morkel does, what Becca Summers does, like that might be very different than what I do, but they're both effective systems. So again, the more that you align with who you are and who you are targeting, the better off your systems will work. You find, I always say that there's so many things that you can add in this business, but do only the things that will complement what you're already doing and what you are and how you work. Do the things that are going to complement you instead of you changing yourself to be a part of a system, because it rarely ever works. That's something I've learned. Behavior change is way harder than system changing, if that makes sense. So find who you are and what you're willing to do and find the systems that complement that. You'll spend way less money. So, all right, guys, thanks for coming. Thank you. Okay, 99. What do you want to know specifically about the 1099? Yeah. Okay. So it is part of it. It is actually a regular conventional loan. Conventional loans, if you know how they work, they have guidelines, right, that they give them. So with 1099 employees, you have to utilize a lender that understands the system very well. Luckily, my husband is a lender and I utilize him on a very high level. So, but again, there are lots of very competent lenders, but most are scared of this system because they just don't know it. So 1099 is again, biggest thing is they have to use 2 years of income. If they don't have that 2 years of income, they what they say is they can have what they call a trust income. There's a the way I came about it was saying, okay, well, if we can't count this income, what types of income can we count? That was the question I had. Because clearly they're making money, but how do we show that? How do we do it? How do we present it to the lender in a way that they can understand it, right? That they will approve it. And so the trust income is the route that we've decided to go. I can talk loud. So the trust income is the route that we went. So by utilizing a trust income, a trust income loan, not loan, sorry, trust income, you can stipulate how much money gets paid out of a trust that will count as an income, because lenders will see trust income as income. So the type of trust that's being utilized is a revocable trust. That is a very important thing to know. Not irrevocable, revocable. Mm-hmm. A revocable trust is one that can be put into place and also altered at any point. An irrevocable, you cannot. Okay, so this is again only for people that really make the money.
Right.
Because this is the part that like kind of skirts the line of people who are trying to utilize it without having the money. So
Versus like a stated income loan where they're really pulling down 80,000 a year, but they're saying, "Oh, I make 150," so they can buy a way bigger house than they actually do.
Yep.
But this is a way where a business owner who really is making 150 but is writing off $70,000 worth of expenses through business, so it looks like they're only making 80, even though they're really making 150. They're just writing anything and everything off.
Precisely.
So I save on tax.
So I will say that is something that like you have to utilize. Again, if you want to use, if you talk to my husband about it, great. If you don't have to, I can give you a couple other lenders that I know work really well with it too. But there are only a very select few. I just had one that just went through. One lender took literally 5.5, 6 weeks and came back last minute and said, no, we can't do this. And
Really?
so I had my other lender that I knew. It wasn't my husband because their system's a little different, but I had another lender I knew that could finish it off. We got it closed in 4 days.
Wow.
Because of how streamlined the system was. They knew it.
So with the trust paying out
Or 5 days, sorry.
some of the income, is that something that needs to be in place for 2 years? I think to
Nope.
show that, or
Uh-uh.
a shorter period?
No, so they typically like to see it over 12 months in play. However, if there's again, they have the guidelines are very interesting because the guidelines actually say, if you look at the lender guidelines, and maybe I shouldn't, I mean, this is the Fannie Mae Freddie Mac guidelines. This is where, again, my thought process goes, because I like to know the little nitty gritty. You don't have to know
We're very
that.
much in the weeds on this.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
yeah, but for me, it's like, I wanted to solve a problem, so I went a little bit deeper into the weeds. So Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac guidelines say it can be under 12 months.
Okay.
They don't care when it was created. So you can be under contract and you can create it. If a couple of things exist. So first of all, if you have 36 months or more of that income inside of that account. So it does take capital. It does take capital on their part. So it's not for everybody. Not everybody can have access to it, but you need to have at least 37 months of capital available to prove that income. So if you're trying to do, for example, prove $70,000 extra, right? That they wrote off. Divide that by 12. So that would be a matter of $58.33 per month that you need to show in income for, yes. So you times that by 37 months, and you need to have at least $215,000 or $216,000 in a trust account. That trust account set up very specifically. Again, I have a great attorney that does all my trust, my revocable trust stuff. That I send them over to them and they just get it set up. They can do it. They have a 24-hour turnaround. They can do it quickly. So they
they can set it up, but they would, again, they'd have to have at least $216,000 in that account. Clearly, you don't want it to a penny, because then that just looks, you know. But it will say that on that revocable trust, it'll say the beneficiary is your client, right? The beneficiary would be your client. And you will show one payment paid out. So if they can see that they've had at least one payment paid out into their account of 5850 or 5833, then, and they have the reserves inside of that bank account, they can count that whole 5833 as their,
This is separate from their normal bank account.
correct.
It's
This,
just showing.
so there's a very specific, they have to set up a trust bank account. So a bank account specifically attached to that trust. So there is a little bit more back end work, but usually like my clients can get it set up within a 48-hour period. So it's pretty quick, but I prep them really quickly. So that's what we'll do. So we get them set up on that. And then, because it is revocable, the nice thing about it is yes, it does take a larger amount of capital. Usually people are not needing that much income. Like maybe it's like a couple of thousand or so. So sometimes, most of the ones that I've done are under 100,000 that they need in cash and capital to prove that additional income. So for me, it's like, I'll, typically, like I said, my clients know if they're going that route, we absolutely have capital available. If I wouldn't try and do it if it's all of a sudden I'd say make sure that they are pre-approved, that you already know the route it's going to go prior to getting under contract. Okay, so having that conversation with them beforehand. Okay, and again, there's a cost involved getting that trust up and going. It's about $1,000. So but for 1099 people, that is like done. I'll do it, because for them, their loans, if they do a income statement loan, their interest rates are so much higher and their down payment's higher. So they end up having more cost to it anyway. This way, the revocable trust, so once they can count that income, it is like a regular W-2 employee to lenders at that point. It is clear, it's clean cut. They throw it in there, not a big deal. And they can get approved.
They also need the 20% down payment or whatever.
No, 5%, 3.5%.
So just 5%.
They have a FHA one and they have
Okay.
but mainly conventional. I'd say stay conventional. The more that you go with the FHA, Fannie Mae, they'll scrutinize it more. And it's just, so I'd say keep it conventional. So 5% down
Could they
or
take-
3.
So say they had 200 grand to put as a down payment, could they put that into the trust account?
Absolutely.
And then pull most of that out?
Yeah, after they
later,
close,
down payment?
that's up to them. It's revocable. They can pull the money out of it, like all they want. That's theirs. So they can turn around and they can pay down principal if they want to.
Or can they use that as down payment though? So I have a-
No,
I have
you
a client
can't use it. You
exact
can't use
thing.
it as a down payment.
Okay, I have a client
So-
that's going through this exact thing.
But they can do it after the fact, and after the fact and recast. So yeah, their first payment that it looks like, because you'll have to double check to see when how soon they can recast. Some lenders say they don't want them to recast until 6 months. Some will say within 2 months, 3 months. Some will say they can immediately do it. It just depends, right? So I'd say check with the lender to see when they can recast, if they're to put a larger amount down, so that they understand the amount and payment that's going to happen for the next few months or so. Yeah, but then have it recasted at that point, and their mortgage insurance,
Is there
pulled off.
usually cost to recast it?
No. Mm-mm. Yeah, but the majority of them don't have costs to recasting. It just takes longer for them to like
They have a-
process it.
Put down in 30 days.
But
I've never done- I've
but
never
like, so
done
that,
recast.
it just takes longer. It's just that, but like, they want a big chunk.
Yeah.
They still want a big chunk, because like, what's the point of recasting if it's not gonna drop off your mortgage insurance?
Yeah.
So again, with an FHA loan, mortgage insurance is for the duration of the loan, so it doesn't make sense. For conventional, you can have it drop off. So,
You see the hamster spinning in my head?
Yeah, that's the thing, like, that's what like, the more you become a solution finder, like, if
Yeah.
if you are a great problem solver, you will always have a client. Because right now in this market, it is hard. Every person coming to the table is not easy. Like, there's very rare straightforward cases right now. Like, everybody's coming in, they're wanting seller finance. I've done quite a few seller finances last year. It sounds scary, but I understand it now, and I understand how to protect my clients. Now, did I put my clients into a seller finance a year ago? And the sellers came back to us the beginning of this month saying, hey, we're claiming bankruptcy. So what do we do now with my buyers?
What do you do? What do
Well,
you-
so when they claim bankruptcy, you know what happens? The due on sale happens.
Yeah.
We have a term of 10 years with this
Yeah.
seller. 10.
Got, pick up 9 years.
They have to
Yeah.
get refinanced out.
Yeah.
But we locked in a 4.5% for 10 years. So,
Deal.
so what does that do with my clients, right? Because that came back to us and we're like, so things happen, there's risks that are a part of it. So what did my clients and I do? Well, I just said, well, how much do they need to not be in bankruptcy? Because I'm like, we're not gonna take this deal. I don't want them to have to refinance into a larger loan at this point, no way. And so we asked, like, what's it gonna take? $50,000. $50,000 for for their clients to be out of their bankruptcy. And for them not to claim bankruptcy. Okay, well, what's gonna stop them from coming back in a year? Right? What's gonna make them change? So this time what we did is we said, okay, fine, we'll pay you $50,000 to not claim bankruptcy. We'll do it all balloon, it's going all to equity. Gratefully my clients could do it, right? Gratefully my clients have that equity. They didn't put down, because they had a better rate, because they had a better, they had longer term, they didn't put all of their cash down, which was huge. So what we ended up doing is we said, okay, fine, we'll pay you the $50,000 down now. You guys are losing 20,000 equity right now because of it. So now our loan amount goes down. And on top of that, if you make us finance out of before now, because they do have an underlying mortgage that's not triggered by a mortgage due on sale, because that's part of the caveat is if the mortgage company finds out in some way, shape or form, the loan can be called due at any point. So if it's not the lender saying it's due, but if they come back to us again, they lose the remaining 70,000 of equity that they have in the home. It's ours. That means that we only have to pay literally what the loan is, the balance of their first mortgage. So it's all in negotiation. Like, you have to think through it. It's hard. It's hard to have that conversation with your client to say, yeah, remember that really great loan we put you into? Now it's like coming due. And sadly, my client is going through cancer right now, right? So it's not convenient. This is not easy.
Terrible time to throw 50 grand of cash out right now.
Right, terrible time. However, for my clients, for them, it's like no brainer. We get 20,000 more in equity. If it does get called due, we could sell off this home and have no problems in the future to get what we need to out of it. We haven't lost anything. So for them, they see the pros and cons and they're okay with it. So again, the more you communicate with your clients, the risk involved in the things that you're communicating to them. Like, if you communicate that and you really give them the depth, because before, when I was putting them into this, I said, there's a chance that this could happen. So when it did happen, they weren't as scared or angry, right? So don't put your clients into things that they don't understand. And I always say, if you don't understand, ask more questions. I don't want you to say yes because you like me or make me feel uncomfortable. Like, I would rather them have that conversation with me. Ask more questions until you feel like you understand. And if I don't think they're understanding, I ask more questions if how they understand it. But the thing is understanding, getting a bigger picture, giving them the all-in risks, let them make that decision. You don't make that decision for them, and you don't talk them into it or out of it. You just give them the facts and you can let them decide.
So with your for sale by owner, or not for sale by owner, I'm sorry.
Seller
under
finance.
Seller financing, does the bank know that
No,
they? Okay,
it's
you
a
don't want
wraparound
them to
mortgage.
know, right?
No, because they'll put a due on sale.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a wraparound mortgage and it's on title. They're on title.
Yeah.
Well, we have a notice of interest on the property. So if they were to go and claim bankruptcy, for example, we would actually still have first right of refusal at that point.
Not a pain to do.
No, it's just you have to get the right
You find a title
document.
company that's
So
done.
I have a real estate attorney that drafts all my stuff,
Okay.
and that we make sure that those documents say exactly what we want them to say.
That's like next level.
It's just, it is, there's a lot of, it's a whole different
thing
world.
that-
It's just that like the agents, it's interesting because like I came into the business in 2015, right? So it was just barely recovering after, 2008. That's kind of like things started to pick up and things were going well, right? And so you had people who were agents who were still very much in the like distressed REO properties. They did a lot of short sales. So you had a lot of agents that did amazingly well in that arena. But seeing that transition, there were a handful of agents in this office that were complete rock stars during 2008 and 2015. They did amazingly well. But the minute that it started to shift to a more equitable market for everybody, they couldn't survive because they didn't know this realm. And so every single like market you're in, you have to adapt to it, and you have to start understanding. You start to start shifting what your knowledge needs to be. When I first started, it was like, okay, it's there's still like there's buyers or sellers. It was a pretty even market, right? Then it went to a seller's market, and buyers are throwing everything out the window, and then it went almost immediately back into a buyer's market. Not even that. This is not a buyer's nor seller's market. This is because the sellers are still waiting a long time to get their houses sold. Sometimes, I have 2 houses that are just sitting that my clients aren't willing to pull down their price. But I have buyers that are still walking through it, but they just but then we also have buyers, like the inventory's so low that buyers are going through houses and they're like, yeah, we'll just wait. So it's not a buyer nor seller's market. So we're in this kind of weird thing, but like with every single market we have, shift your perspective, see what the needs are, ask the questions like, why aren't you going to buy? Like, what's your perspective? Well, the interest rates are too high, right? Okay, well then, what's it going to take? So right now, I have a client, for example. She owns her condo or her townhouse outright right now. She's a single mom. She's going into her, she's mid-40s, going into 50s. She's wanting to start to like talk about her building up her long-term retirement, right? But she has the only dollar she has for her name is in that home. So how does she make that work? Because she wants to move out. She wants to move from her place. What would you guys do? She has a very limited income as well.
She's trying to upgrade or downgrade or just
She's good to move laterally. She's good to upgrade just a teeny bit, like no more than 500,000.
She owns it outright.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rent, but I also don't know much.
Yeah.
She keep it. She profits a lot.
Yeah. So I mean,
reverse mortgage.
huh?
She's not old enough actually for a reverse mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
And pull some of the cash out, keep it liquid for other retirement, for healthcare or whatever she needs longer term.
Mm-hmm.
But if she's disciplined enough as a person to not spend all what they just put it all black.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I mean, and she's 50. She's still working.
Yeah.
It's like she has a limited
Yeah.
income, but she's still working, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, like her income is like barely making her month to month, kind of a thing, right? As it is.
so she can't add a bigger mortgage, not a mortgage on top of that.
Not much more. Yeah. I mean, well, so with some of the equity of her home, and she pays off her few bills, like her few monthly reoccurring, she can open about $700-800. but in a mortgage, what's that? Not much, $700 or $800 mortgage, right? So here's the thing that we came up with. Again, this was a tough one, because I'm like she really wants to, she's gonna sell, and she's like, but I want to utilize this money correctly. Like, she wants to use it. She doesn't want to use it just to not have it. So what we've come up with, which has been a really great thing, is, okay, instead of her getting 400,000 for her place, which is about market value, we're gonna put it for 450, but we're gonna sell her finance it. She's gonna sell her finance it, so she can charge a little bit more. She's sell her finance it, she's gonna give it to somebody for 4.5%. Then what she'll do is, and she'll require a certain amount down, depending. So what I've had her do is pull a HELOC on the home. She's pulling out a HELOC. And so she has a good down payment for the next place. And we are doing a seller finance term with the, so then we're turning around and we're getting a seller finance on the other side. So now what we've done is we've given her $50,000 more on the sale of her house. She's only letting them have a 2-year term so that she'd get all that money back soon. But she got $50,000 more for her home. And so we've got somebody in there while we're in the process of closing. And we've identified another property that we're under contract for 3%, because she's bringing in $200,000 for the down payment, cashing them out of their equity. They have a 2.5% rate as their primary mortgage. So now she can capitalize on having a small payment here, getting money in here. And really what's happening is the difference per month is $300. So her mortgage, her bills have gone down from paying off her current and existing bills from $1,200 per month to $300. And she now has $50,000 more, and she's in another home, starting to build more equity. I know this is a lot of stuff, you guys,
Yeah.
but you don't have to be creative. Sometimes some things are straightforward, but if you help people help people get what they want, solve those problems, you will be like, they become endeared to you, they become a part of your life forever. So, but also don't do things shady. Don't do things under the table. Like, find the real solutions that will work. Give them every type of risk available. Tell them every type of risk that can happen. Give them the all-in, the worst case scenario. Kind of scare them. I do. So I'm like, what? So then what do we do? Like, if her buyers in her house stop paying on their mortgage, what does she do? Because she doesn't have extra money per month. So we've taken money and we put it into an emergency fund, just in case people don't make that payment, so that she's not out money every single month. That's what we've done. So she knows that there's a backup. And if those people default and not make their payments, or sorry, they default and she, like, more than twice, she could foreclose on them and get that home back and have that equity back. So.
How did you learn about seller financing? Was the class here at Miller, or just online reading?
Yeah, just asking lots of questions, reading.
I didn't know if there was a go-to.
They're
It's
starting
kind
to
of
do.
a different realm.
They're doing. I think they're doing a seller finance class
I think they are.
next week. I think. I want to say.
It's kind of, to me, that's like, and I've had my life not quite 2 years yet, but it makes sense to get into a couple of more traditional ones, and then once I have that down,
Yeah.
then start to better understand the seller. That's kind of,
Yeah,
at least I feel like I'm
like
at that point where it's like, all right, I might be willing to invest the time and energy to learn this, because I figured out the more traditional buying and selling side.
yeah. And okay, so for example, again, like, as you become more and more like again, these are things that, like, this is like crazy stuff where it's like, okay, it's not your typical straightforward stuff. So you do have to have some knowledge, or at least somebody walking through with you, holding your hand through it and saying, this is how it works. But I will say this, like, when it comes down to like finding a seller financeable home. Well, okay. you go on and you filter on the MLS for seller financing, and only so many houses come up. So what do? None of those are gonna fit within your client's realm. You know what I do? I get on the phone and I go to every house that's been on the market for over 100 days, and or 90 days or 60 days. And I call the agent, I say, are they going to do seller financing? And they say, no. And I said, do they understand? I said, do you understand? Like, I mean, I say, I said, what are they scared about with seller finance? Well, they need all their, like, they'll say, they need all their equity. Okay, so if they were able to get paid out in all their equity, would they be able to do it? Well, I don't think so. I don't think they want the risk. Okay, well, so what's the risk for them? Like, I ask the questions, because the reality is like, they probably haven't thought it through themselves. A lot of listing agents, because they're the gatekeepers.
Right.
So, for example, this last week, on a home for my other client, he's an investor, but we want it to cash flow. So I call up this agent and I said, are your clients going to seller financing? He said, no. And I said, so I asked him those questions and he said, you know what? I would like my client to talk to the lender, and he's like, and maybe we can get you on a three-way call and see if these numbers make sense, so they can get it in place. I said, great. So we were able to sit and negotiate on the phone when the buyers knew that they could actually secure the price they wanted by us cashing them out and them offering us a better rate, along with a certain amount of so my client was going to put a certain amount of money in escrow, to, like, as in like, backup funds for these people, just in case the default happened. But if he had consistent payments over the first year, that can be released back to him. After they saw that, they're like, oh yeah, we can get into our home and we have a backup. No brainer, let's do it. So those are the things that, like, I think that if you can explain it well and present it well to the other agents, more people are interested in it when they understand it. It's mainly they're scared of it, so they don't. So.
Well, and that's why I'm trying to better educate myself, right? Because if you called me on my listing and said, hey, are they open to seller financing? I don't think they are, but it's probably because I honestly haven't explained it well enough to them, because I don't understand it well enough. But that's why I'm trying to better educate myself on it.
Yeah, because like it could work into their advantage. They could get more money out of their home instead of you lowering the price.
Yeah.
For them to get it off the market. Like, look, you can take a $25,000 hit, or you can go up $25,000 by offering these terms. It does go into an escrow company. They do pay out taxes for you. They still collect taxes. They still collect insurances. And for the buyer, the nice thing is it's the escrow company that's paying it out directly to the first mortgage, directly to the, all these different places. So it's not going to the seller. And then the seller's getting the leftover, right? But and then also if they default, that's going on that person's credit. They report to all these people. So there is a sense of, what's the word?
Accountability, the right word?
Accountability, but like safety. Because again, that's a lot of the thing is like becoming a lender yourself feels scary, right?
Right.
But when you have safety holds of like knowing that there's repercussions for the other person for not making their payments, that's great. It's the ones that like they don't set them up in escrow, that don't do, like, that it's more under the table, it's not in writing. Those are the ones that have gone bad, real bad, real fast. So. Anyway, there you go. That, I don't know if that's too much, you guys. That's a lot of stuff.
No,
So.
How does so say someone is interested in doing seller financing and they're trying to buy a new property. How does that work on their qualification side? They're going to, right? They'll still technically have that mortgage, that debt, in their name on their first house that they're selling, right? Seller financing, not selling, I should say.
Oh, so they own a home and
Yeah,
they're wanting to
they own a home
purchase
and
it.
they want to seller finance it, but then they want to buy a second home. It doesn't show up it's not like a lease where you need.
No, it doesn't show against them.
75% of it.
No, it doesn't show against them because they don't have the lien.
Oh, it doesn't show against them.
Mhm. It just reports their credit when they default. Yeah.
Hopefully
That's what I'm saying.
buyers of it.
Yeah. So, oh, you mean, sorry,
Sorry.
if the seller is wanting to, sorry,
Sorry.
go back.
All right,
Yes,
Back up. Someone owns a home today, they want to sell or finance it to a new person,
Yeah.
and that same person wants to turn around and buy a new home.
Yes.
While seller financing.
yes. So that's a great question. So that, thank you. Nice to
would
meet
they-
you.
How could they qualify for the second
Home.
mortgage?
So yes, that the debt to income part is the big part, right?
Okay.
So, in order for them to get to the next place, what you'll have to do is set up with the seller, like a lease option to purchase. Because they can, so when it comes to seller financing, you have to show a full 12 months of that income coming in for them to count it fully,
Okay.
right? But if it's a lease option to purchase, so I usually do like a 60-day or 30-day lease option to purchase. But like, again, and we already have all the other paperwork done for the seller financing, but usually it's a 30 to 60-day lease option to purchase. That contract going into the lender will suffice.
And is it 100%? So if they're paying a $2,000 mortgage payment on the seller financing, to buy the old seller finance the old home.
They usually do like a 75 to 80%, but the thing is their payments can be smaller anyway.
Because they probably have.
So typically we like to, we'll do, like I said, I told them, I'm like, we'll do a larger payment for the first couple of months to get them into their new place.
Okay.
So they can show that DTI, right? So that's like the give and take. So I'll say, okay, yeah, if, you know, they need to do $5,000 for the first month or two, we could do that. We'll just take that, whatever extra they're paying on that monthly, we'll just put it towards principal once we finance into that other one.
Okay.
Again, it is,
Yeah.
there's a lot of moving parts.
Yeah.
But,
That first one is scary, because you're like, what am I missing? But you gotta have good, apparently, a real estate attorney and a loan officer. Escrow.
yes, exactly. Loan officer and escrow company, because, I mean, yeah, to figure out a lot of things. So again, it's over communicating and understanding how it works and giving the different pieces, because it's not easy. So,
Another question, like the person who's doing the seller financing, the original owner of the home, if they want out of it, like they just want all of their equity back, can they sell their seller finance to a bank, somebody else? Give
No.
them,
But then,
they're locked in.
they're locked in for the term.
That just like a regular lender. If like say the lender, if that's the case, then the lender would want to call do all their 2.5% and they will refinance it into a 7.5, right? You know, so they're locked in. Yep. And that's the thing is like they do have to understand that,
So they won't ever be able to defer, be like, hey, just pay this person instead.
unless it's in the documents. Yeah. But they can't. I mean, they could sell off the loan, but I don't know who's gonna pick up a loan that's gonna be less than, prime rate. They could sell it off, but it's not like it has Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac guidelines that it's an easy sellable loan. So, yeah,
Thank you.
thanks. Yeah. Yeah, I know.
I got a lot more for it.
It's like, that's the thing is like, I didn't know much more about it until the last 2 years, like, right? So, I mean, but that's the thing is like, coming across people that can't have traditional financing or are looking for different types of financing. I didn't want to discredit them. I like, cause the thing is I think that sometimes as realtors, you get stuck into a box of, I have my preferred lender, I have this, I have that. Okay, so my husband, yes, he's a lender. Do I use him for everything? No. And we're both in the understanding that we're gonna give the client the absolute best option that's out there. So when Matthew 2 years ago was having like, when the prime rate was 7.5% and their rate was 5.25 on a 40-year zero down first-time home buyer loan.
Good.
Yeah.
Go there.
Was I pulling every single client that I had that was a first-time home buyer into that loan? Absolutely. Even though they were all pre-approved with my husband. I could care less. Like, at the end of the day, my job is to protect them. And my husband, like, the same thing. We're both like, this product is better and more superior. Let's get into that,
Yeah.
And so, because people trust us when we give them good advice, and they always come back, and we can always refinance them, or we could always, and so that's just the thing is like, I feel like some people get super short-sighted when it comes to preferred lenders. Because they get stuck into their product, only in their products, when really there's something that's gonna serve their people so much better. So,
Thank you for sharing your knowledge.
yeah, hopefully.
I have a lot more to learn, but it's also, I have better questions to ask.
Good. I'm glad. Thank you for letting me letting me come and be a part of this. It's not an easy, it takes a lot, and you're learn from, like I said, hard things. I hated having that conversation with my clients about their seller finance, right?
Yeah, how long are night classes usually? This is the very first one I've been to.
2 hours, so 9:30
Well,
to
they're-
9:30 to 11:30. What I understand, some go longer, or like smaller, right? Is that right? Like they're usually, some of them are an hour to an hour and a half. So yeah, it just depends. They used to be 3 hours long.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 3 hour block.
Yeah, but I'm like, it could have gone way less.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you guys.
Okay.
Yeah,
I do have one last question, because
sure.